Have you ever noticed people who seem to be doing great with money, but are actually struggling behind the scenes? In this video, we're going to break down some surprising signs that someone might not be as financially savvy as they appear. Stick around. You might see a bit of yourself in some of these examples, and we'll share tips to get you back on track. One of the first clues that someone may be bad with money is their refusal to entertain new financial ideas. They may be stuck in old habits, unwilling to learn about new investment opportunities, or too skeptical of changes in the financial world. This closed-mindedness can hold them back from achieving their financial goals because they aren't open to better, more efficient ways to manage their money. For example, someone might dismiss investing in stocks as too risky without doing their research, missing out on potential long-term growth. They could be keeping all their savings in a low-interest account, thinking it's the safest option, while inflation slowly eats away at their purchasing power. Without the willingness to explore new financial strategies, they might be unknowingly sabotaging their own wealth-building efforts. 2. They keep making the same financial mistakes. We all make mistakes, but repeating the same financial mistakes over and over is a huge red flag. If someone keeps overdrafting their bank account or racking up credit card debt without learning from their past, it shows they're not paying attention to their financial habits. This can lead to bigger issues down the line, like damaged credit and growing debt that's hard to escape. Imagine someone who constantly spends beyond their means on things they don't need, only to regret it when bills come due. They'll complain about being broke at the end of every month, yet they never make changes to their spending habits. If this sounds familiar, it's time to recognize these patterns and break the cycle before the consequences become overwhelming. 3. They don't track their spending. Not tracking your spending is like trying to drive with your eyes closed. It's only a matter of time before you crash. People who don't know where their money goes each month often find themselves overspending or coming up short on bills. Budgeting isn't glamorous, but it's essential if you want to stay on top of your finances and prevent unnecessary stress. For example, someone who never tracks their expenses may wonder why they're always running out of money before payday, even though they think they're being careful. Without a clear understanding of their spending habits, it's easy to fall into financial holes. If you don't have a budget yet, this is your wake-up call to start tracking where every dollar goes. 4. They avoid talking about money. If someone gets defensive or shuts down when the topic of money comes up, it's often because they're uncomfortable with their financial situation. Avoiding conversations about money can be a sign that they're hiding debt, poor spending habits, or simply don't know where to start. Being open to talking about finances is key to getting on the right track. For instance, they might get upset or change the subject when you bring up budgeting or saving. This avoidance only creates more financial stress over time because they're not addressing the underlying issues. If you find yourself or someone you know avoiding money talks, it's time to face the music and have honest conversations. 5. They spend impulsively without a plan. Impulse spending is a sure sign someone doesn't have control over their finances. We've all been there, buying something on a whim because it feels good in the moment, only to regret it later when we realize it wasn't in the budget. People who regularly spend impulsively often end up with maxed out credit cards and little to no savings. It's easy to justify these purchases, telling yourself, "I'll figure it out later." But those little purchases add up fast. Without a clear plan or budget, it's like letting your money slip through your fingers. If you find that impulse buys are affecting your financial health, it's time to take a step back and reassess your spending habits. 6. They don't plan for emergencies. If there's one thing that's certain in life, it's uncertainty. Yet many people fail to plan for emergencies, leaving them vulnerable when an unexpected expense comes along. Whether it's a car repair, medical bill, or sudden job loss, not having an emergency fund can turn a small crisis into a financial disaster. Imagine someone who has no savings when their car breaks down. They're forced to use high-interest credit cards or take out a loan just to cover the repair. This can lead to a cycle of debt that's tough to escape. Building an emergency fund should be a top priority, even if it's just a little at a time. 7. They max out their credit cards regularly. Maxing out credit cards is a huge warning sign that someone is living beyond their means. If you're constantly using up all your available credit, it's time to reevaluate your spending habits. Not only does this lead to massive interest payments, but it can also damage your credit score, making it harder to borrow when you really need it. Even worse, carrying a balance on maxed out cards can trap you in a cycle of debt that feels impossible to break. The key is to use credit responsibly and never spend more than you can pay off each month. If you're struggling with credit card debt, consider creating a repayment plan or seeking advice from a financial advisor. 8. They don't invest their money. Not investing your money is one of the biggest missed opportunities for building wealth. If you're only saving in a regular bank account, your money isn't growing. It's actually losing value due to inflation. Investing, whether in stocks, real estate, or retirement accounts, is key to ensuring your financial future. Even if you start small, investing regularly can make a huge difference over time. The earlier you start, the more you benefit from compounding returns. If you're not investing yet, now is the time to learn how to make your money work for you. 9. They rely on loans for non-essentials. Taking out loans for non-essential purchases is a dangerous habit that can lead to debt quickly spiraling out of control. Using credit to buy things like vacations, clothes, or gadgets might feel like a quick fix, but it's not sustainable in the long run. Those interest payments pile up, and before you know it, you're paying much more than the original price of the item. If you find yourself relying on loans for things that aren't necessary, it's a clear sign your spending needs an overhaul. Instead of taking on more debt, consider creating a budget and saving up for those non-essential items. This will help you stay out of debt and give you peace of mind. 10. They don't set financial goals. Without financial goals, it's hard to measure success or know where you're headed. People who don't set specific goals for saving, investing, or paying off debt often end up stuck in the same financial rut for years. Having clear objectives helps you stay focused and motivated, and it gives you something to work toward. For example, setting a goal to save for a down payment on a house or pay off a student loan by a certain date can make all the difference. Without goals, you're simply drifting through life financially. Set clear, realistic targets and start working toward them today. Thanks for sticking with us. Now that you know some of the surprising signs for poor financial habits, you're equipped to make smarter choices with your money. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and check out our other content for more ways to improve your financial future.